Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Madness University. This is LZ, and I am here as always with Nick. And today's topic is going to be around how auctions work. And just for the audience, we do very short episodes for Madness University. We did have a full episode that covered a lot of this, but I think Nick and I today are just gonna. This is definitely the Cliff Notes version of this quick reference guide for you on some things that you should be aware of with auctions and how they work. Nick, let's start with you. What do you want to cover around auctions today?
Yeah, I just want to mention, especially for people in the audience that are new to the hobby, we're all pretty familiar with eBay, right? Like we can go on there and it's just like there's sniping and timing issues with auctions and when they end, and we kind of get how they work, right? Whoever has the best price when the clock ends gets the card. So that was common sense. And I even kind of knew that just from buying other things on eBay. But what surprised me was when I started to get into the auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Golden Auctions, Leland's Auctions. And I looked at those and started buying things. And I noticed that the auction rules were a bit different. And there are ways to game this. So, first, I'll explain how they're different. And then I'll just give the audience some suggestions. So, the the golden auctions, actually all the auction houses kind of do this. It's a weird little sudden death thing. So let's say, the auction started on a Monday and it closes on a Friday. Just to keep things simple. This is a 5-day auction, right? Um, you bid, and they decide on the increments. It goes up $5, goes up $100, and so on until you're going up 1,000 with every bid, right? And you got a certain number of bidders up to that point. So now it's Friday night, and this thing's going to close at 9 p.m. Okay, we've got 18 bidders to date that have bid on this, and boom, clock strikes 9. It's interesting. The auction's not over. And it's actually not clock dependent anymore. What they actually do is they run half-hour blocks starting at that auction close time until the end of time. So, for example, if you were one of those 18 bidders and the clock strikes 9, if you're the high bidder and nobody else bids in that next half hour, you get the card. Very simple. That's actually similar to an auction. However, if one of those 18 bidders bids more, at 9:02 p.m., new 30-minute clock goes to 9:32 p.m. and so on until somebody quits. So what I like about that is it is snipe proof. You cannot snipe it. You want to come in and snipe? There's another half hour for everybody else that's bid already. So that actually leads me to my very quick advice here. And I've done this on some cards. If you know what you're going to pay on a card at one of these auction houses, it's very different rules than eBay because sniping's not allowed. On eBay, you all hang tight, and 90% of the price action happens in the last 10 seconds, right?
Mhm.
Auction house is in reverse. I try to get 90% of the action up front so we can have less bidders. So let's say you had that Monday to Friday auction with 18 bidders. I try to get that thing. Let's say the card fair price is 20 grand and I know I'm going to pay 20 grand. I'll try to rip that thing to 15 grand in like a day, just so the small time bidders don't have any chance to get in. They're maybe a little wishy washy on the price. And so now we hit Friday and there's only 5 bidders. And again, when that sudden death clock hits, only people that have made a bid before are allowed to make a bid, no new people. So that's how I've weeded out a few. It worked on my Michael Jordan signed rookie I got with them. That was one of my. I just cranked it up as fast as I could. Um, so yeah, I thought that was interesting. As you begin to collect and as you collect more expensive things, you will find yourself on these auction house sites, and that's kind of how they work.
Yeah, that's great. Great advice there around bidding up fast to begin with. Um, when it comes to auction houses, because Nick had mentioned it is different than the eBay way of doing it. Just some more advice, just simple advice. Definitely sign up or get a user account with all these auction sites. Sign ups for alerts, sign up for notifications. Um, because they have some really great stuff on there, but you can certainly miss out. So that's number one. Use your calendar. I've been screwed a few times with different auctions because I just forgot about them. So definitely use your calendar. Put an alert in there, a reminder in there. The thing I like about auction houses compared to eBay, especially, although some of the consigners do this even on eBay, but I love the stories that these auction houses, they promote these cards, this memorabilia. Um, so it's great. It's great if you follow some of their socials. You can hear about the stories behind the card, why it's so rare, why it's so valuable, maybe why it is the cost that it is. So that is definitely cool. Um, on the eBay side, I would just say, yeah, Nick touched on it. I was going to touch on it too, but sniping is a real thing, so you got to be prepared. And what sniping is in the very last, let's call it 5 seconds or even 1 second, you're trying to jump in and bid $1 more or $5 more than everybody else. So that is going to happen. 100% guaranteed. If you're in a bidding war with people on eBay, it's going to happen. So you got to be prepared. Just be ready for that. Be ready. That's why I say set up a reminder, set up a calendar appointment on your end to remind yourself that this thing's ending at 9 p.m. and I need to be on for at least the last minute, and I need to be on with really good Wi-Fi. Literally sit in front of your Wi-Fi router in your house because you want to wait until there's 2 seconds left and try to sneak your bid in because it's going to happen. So you got to be prepared for it. But Nick, I thought you did just a great job. I don't really need to touch on anything more with the auction houses. So that's all I have, other than do your homework, right? With any of these cards, or anything you're buying, you need to be doing your homework and your research to understand the value. Nick had mentioned this card, maybe it's valued at 20 grand. You need to understand that it's valued at 20 grand and you're willing to either go a little low or a little higher, and you need to be prepared for that. So,
right. Yeah, it's
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, just the attention span is your enemy here with auction houses. I mean, that's half the times I've lost something on eBay or an auction house. I just simply forgot. So place a bid early. You get reminded a lot, like in the push notifications. And when it comes to other auction sites, they all have watch lists and search lists and things like that. So again, attention span is like your biggest enemy when it comes to this stuff.
It really
is.
It really
and
is.
Bedtimes. Attention span and bedtimes. That's the key. Cool.
But I referenced it. I referenced it at the beginning, everybody. We did a full episode on this topic, and this is only, I don't know, 8 minutes on this topic or even less. So please go back and listen to the entire thing. All right. So that's it for this episode of Madness University. And we will talk to you all again soon.
Thanks, everyone.